All right, what's going on? Uh, Happy to see everybody. Glad to be here. We back with another installment, Tips with Coach D. I am your host here, Coach Darvin Peterson at Molina High School, and also head coach of Ace Life basketball team, where we're helping these middle school and high school athletes get that competitive edge to get to the next level. All right, and on this next installment, we're going to be talking about defense and defensive rotations, and how that impacts your players' playing time, how it impacts a coach's decision to either put you in or not put you in and keep you in the game, and things of that nature. And so when we talk about defense, it's very important that we let our kids, our players, our sons, our daughters understand that playing defense is an attitude, it's a mindset, right? You have to step on that floor as a defensive player and know that, hey, I might not score 20 points, but you for sure is not scoring 20 points, right? I'm going to make it as difficult as possible for you to get to your spots, right? I'm not going to allow you to be comfortable. When you have the ball, I'm going to pressure you. If I'm in help, I'm going to be a good helper, right? I'm going to close out really good. And so a lot of times when we are raising our young basketball players, and from what I see, we spend a lot of time on dribble, pass, shoot, right? But that's one element of the game. Um, and so, speaking from a coach's perspective, like I want players that want to guard, that want to play defense, right? Um, Speaking on some of the top teams in the area, right? One of the teams that comes to mind is like Duncanville boys basketball, right? They're like a four-time state championship team, like four times in a row. They have all these great athletes. They're really skilled basketball players. They're tall, they're long. But one thing that stands out the most is that them boys is gonna lock up and they're gonna play some defense, right? There was a game in the playoffs where they started out pretty slow offensively, and their coach did a great job. Coach Peavy did a good job making his adjustment. And in the second half, they shut the team down to like 6 points, and they went on to have like the biggest comeback in state tournament history. And then the next game, they went on to win the championship. So it's our job as parents to make sure that our kids buy into their coach's defensive philosophy, that they buy into, yeah, it's not all about putting the ball in the hole. Like I got a guard, right? And so teaching defense, one of the things that I like to talk to the kids about is making sure, first of all, getting a good defensive stance, right? Be able to sit down in that chair. Make sure that you can guard your yard, right? Guard your yard. So as a defender, I should be able to guard 1 yard going this way, and I should be able to guard 1 yard going this way, right? They say good defenders can guard 1 yard. A really great defender is able to guard 2 yards, right? 2 yards either way. And in that way, we're not giving up a straight line drive to the basket. Okay. So a lot of times we're talking to kids about help defense, like where's the help? Where's the help? But ain't no help on the straight line drive, right? So you gotta guard your guy. You gotta keep your player out of the paint. And so in practice, it's really important for the players to buy in to that defensive segment of practice where the coach is working, the 4-on-4 shell drill, where the coach is working those defensive rotations on their press or on the zone, and things of that nature to make sure that, you're taking it as serious as you're taking the dribbling and the shooting drills, right? Because like I say, at the end of the day, when it's prime time, when it's crunch time, in this fourth quarter, yeah, coaches are gonna put the for sure ball handlers in too, right? But we're talking about we gotta get a stop. We gotta get that ball back. So we're gonna put in those kids that we know is gonna guard, and the coach knows, right? The coach knows the players. Like we see these kids, we see these players every day in practice, right? We know what they do day in and day out. And as a coach, you're not thinking like, well, I know You know, he's not really doing well in defensive drills in practice, but he's just going to turn it on in the game. 9 times out of 10, that player is going to be who they've always been, day in and day out. And so the ones that are buying into the defensive rotations, the one that buy into the coach's defensive philosophy, right? Those crunch time moments, those fourth quarter moments, those overtime moments, where you got to get stops. Those are the players that's going to be in the ball game. Okay, so very important, right? That we're teaching defensive rotations. We're teaching having a defensive mindset when you're on defense, right? Like, don't be afraid to step over and get that charge, right? Understanding if I'm off the ball, am I guarding the shooter, right? So if I'm guarding the shooter, I might not really want to help off that shooter, okay? Or if I'm guarding the player that's not a shooter, then I'm okay making like helping off of that, but then I got to get back. And so a lot of times when I'm watching kids play the game, right, and their coaches talk about help, right, they'll get in really good help position, and then once the ball goes back to the player they're guarding, right, they're not getting back to their person, right? They're not getting back to the player they're guarding, right? So it's help and then get back to yours, right? Now, of course, you know, you're gonna come across those offenses that really space the court out really well, right? And so it might not be good enough to help and get back to yours, right? There's moments where you got to help, and then you got to help the helper, right? So really important to point out to our players to, you know, see the court, see the ball, see the defensive rotations, and understand those situations where you do have to help the helper, right? Help the helper. Keep the ball out of the paint, right? Make them shoot contested shots. Have your players understand when they're closing out, right? What does a good closeout look like, right? A good closeout is me being under control, right? We like to say squeaky feet, high hands, right? So as we're, you know, closing out to the ball handler, right, I want to have squeaky feet to keep my feet in the ground so I can be able to guard my yard either way. And I want to have high hands so I can contest the shot. Not block the shot, contest the shot, right? So you'll see a lot of players when they're closing out, the ball will swing and they get their head fake and they're jumping all into the front row, knocking people popcorn in their lap, right? And so you want to close out with your feet on the ground. And that way you can change direction either way if the ball handler decides to, you know, give them a lift fake and attack the basket. All right, so that's this installment, talking defensive rotations, with Coach D. We welcome the comments in the comment section. I appreciate it. The feedback's really good. And what we're doing with these installments is, you know, we're working with these middle school and high school athletes to help them get that competitive edge to get to the next level, as well as giving parents those nuggets on what their child should be looking for, like in practice, like those little things that they can do while they're practicing, and to help parents that might not really understand the game, like, you know, see it from a coach's perspective as well. All right, so just, you know, enjoying what we're doing, sharing the knowledge, sharing the game. The game has gave so much to me, and I want to give back. All right, so that's it. Defense and defensive rotations with Coach D, and we'll catch y'all next time.